If you never do cardio and never improve your cardiovascular health, which will improve your general health, you're probably gonna die getting huge. As gym bros, we want to get huge as possible. And because of that, with also the fitness industry saying cardio kills your gains,
Thank you, Adki. Next.
we stay away from the treadmill. And personally, I haven't touched the treadmill ever since I walked into the gym. But cardio also does have its benefits. And some of these benefits are actually directly linked into how huge you can get. Which means if you neglect cardio, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're not giving the best chance of you gaining the most muscle possible. Now, where this thought first started, where cardio is killing your gains, is all to do with the interference effect. For example, if you take your long distance run, your Mo Farah, most long distance or marathon runners have a much smaller frame and usually don't pack on too much muscle because it's detrimental to their performance. Because if you weigh heavier, then you're going to need to carry more weight across the whole distance you run. And so because of that, when you do run, your muscles are given a different adaptation to when you resistance train. Because when you're in the gym training, the adaptation you're giving to your body is hypertrophy, so you're building muscle. Whereas when you're running, it's not the same. Because there's conflicting adaptations, and also given that when you do go do some cardio, that time could have been spent resistance training or in the gym. And when you are doing cardio, no doubt your body's going to first go to your carbs that you had in the previous meal, and then it'll go to fat, but there is still some muscle loss risk. Sometimes your body also goes to your muscle, though it's last resort, it still may use it as a form of energy, which means you do risk some muscle loss as well when you're doing cardio. And because cardio also fatigues you, you do need to recover from that. So your body has to recover double the amount from the cardio and your gym session. Because of this, if you do too much cardio, you're definitely going to kill your gains. As for the research side, there are many papers that say either cardio is beneficial, sometimes they say it's neutral, and other times they say it's detrimental. And also the effect that cardio has on strength and muscle is usually different. So there are many variables to consider. What happens if there's a way where you can do cardio but still not risk any muscle loss? You can still stay huge while doing cardio. Now the thing you gotta understand is that you can only prioritize one thing. So if you want to get as huge as possible, that doesn't mean you can become the best endurance athlete ever. You can't be the best in both worlds. And since most gym bros are just trying to get huge and we're not trying to become crazy at endurance, all we need is the benefits of cardio, which means cardio can take the backseat when it comes to priority. We're going to prioritize our muscle building and our performance in the gym, and cardio comes second. This way we can still make sure we're getting huge, not risking muscle loss, but still reaping the benefits of cardio using the 80-20 principle. It's also called the Pareto principle. Basically means you can put in 20% of the work and reap 80% of the benefits, which is what we'll be doing with cardio. The first major benefit of cardio is that it'll improve your cardiovascular health. And although this is not directly linked to getting huge, if you never do cardio and never improve your cardiovascular health, which will improve your general health, you're probably gonna die getting huge. And though this is one of the best ways to die, I still wouldn't want to die early, and so wouldn't you. So don't cut your life short. We need to improve our general health, which means we also need to improve a component of that, which is cardiovascular. The main benefit of cardio, which has direct correlation with gym training, and that is work capacity. Because when you do cardio, you're able to increase your work capacity. You're able to do more sets, more volume, more intensity in the gym. Not only that, but after every set, you're able to recover faster and not feel as gassed. So this is a video from yesterday's session, and it was a squat warm-up set. I was doing 90 kilograms for 6. And usually what I was doing, my top set was 100 for 8. But as you can see, even during the warm-up set, I was struggling to breathe. Because of my cardiovascular health, and lately I haven't been doing much cardio, and because of that, I could even see when I was doing my warm-up sets, I had to wait quite a bit of time. And that's why I came to the realization and how cardio is important. You'll be able to tell even after the 5th rep, I take quite a long pause, struggling to breathe. And I remember when I was doing a bit more cardio, I would barely rest between my warm-up sets, and for my top sets, it would be quite quick. Even though it was a compound squat exercise, it would be max 3 minutes. The first part of work capacity is doing more volume. So when you first started out in the gym, you probably didn't have to do as much. But as you progress in the gym and you become more advanced, you have to do more and more. And if your body isn't capable or more volume, then you soon run into problems like overreaching and possibly overtraining. So in order to avoid this and ensure that you're recovering after even those high volume sessions, and to be able to crush through those high volume sessions, you need to increase your work capacity, or the amount of work you're able to do. And the fastest way to do this is increasing your aerobic capacity. So we've got work capacity over here. We can increase it by improving our aerobic capacity, which is basically doing cardio. And because when you're doing more volume, you're doing more sets, which means there are going to be more sets in the session. And since each set itself will be more intense, you have so many more rest times, and each rest period will also be so much longer. But because you're doing cardio and your work capacity is also increasing, you'll be able to recover quickly through each set and not feel as gassed. So even though you're doing more volume, you'll be quickly recovered for each set. This means cardio gives us two main benefits when it comes to getting huge in the gym. But we just want to do enough cardio where we're getting these two benefits without doing any excess. Because if we did excess, then we would have to recover more from it and it would fatigue our body more, which would lead to the interference effect. When you're doing cardio, your heart rate is obviously going to increase. And over here, I've got a chart of the max heart rates for each age group. And basically when you're doing cardio, you want to aim for around 65%, so in the 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. So for example, if your max heart rate was 200, then when you're doing cardio, you want to aim for around 130 beats per minute. And if you don't have a tracker or a Fitbit or Apple Watch, which tells you your heart rate while you're doing cardio,
bro, you're probably still living in the 1900s, so go get an Apple Watch.
But for those people who still can't afford it, basically the correlation is when you're exercising at around 65% of your heart rate, of your max heart rate, you should just be able to hold a conversation where it doesn't come too easy, but you're not struggling to talk. So when you're just around that zone where you can hold a conversation, then you're in the 65% zone. Now you know the intensity which you should go at, and it's quite low because you're still able to hold a conversation. As for what type of cardio you have to do, that really depends on you. The more enjoyable the cardio is for you, the longer you're going to stick with it. So there's no point of recommending one when if it's not what you like, you're probably going to do it once and never do it again. Choosing a form of cardio that you enjoy will help you stick with it, and if you stick with it, you'll be able to see the results, which will improve your performance in the gym. Over here, I've got a little table which shows you the different types of cardio, and as you go further down, it has less interference with actually training in the gym for hypertrophy. So preferably you would want to pick something lower down on the list that you enjoy. As you can see, the lowest one on the list is low intensity hobbies. This includes just normal cycling, no distance cycling or speed cycling, but like just normal cycling, and all other types of hobbies. To be honest, you should be able to find a hobby which fits in that zone. So there shouldn't be any excuse for you to complain about the interference effect, because these low intensity hobbies will do the least damage to your muscle building while still giving you those benefits. Also, getting your gym bros into it or finding someone else who also wouldn't mind doing it is a way of increasing the enjoyment when you actually do go to do the hobby. That way, once again, you stick longer with it and then you'll see the benefits for longer. When you're first starting out, I started doing 2 sessions per week, and on each session it would just be a 20-minute cycle. Preferably you want to do it on the days that you don't train. That way you'll be able to fuel your workouts and recover mostly from them. But if you are going to do it on a day that you work out, choose one of the lighter volume days. And also make sure you're doing it at least 4 to 6 hours before or after your gym session. Which means if you train in the morning, do the cardio or hobby in the evening, and vice versa. And the good thing about this is you can easily progressive overload. So if you do start enjoying the hobby a lot and you want to improve even more, then you could increase that 20-minute session to even 30, or even increase the number of days you do it. Just make sure you stay in the 65% heart rate zone, so at 60 to 70. Don't increase the intensity too much, otherwise you will run into recovery problems and the interference effect. But just like maintaining your gains, you need to do a little amount of volume compared to building muscle, which requires you to do a lot more sets. When it comes to cardio and the cardio gains, so increasing your work capacity, your aerobic capacity, all of that, to actually increase it, you need to do a certain amount, but to maintain those gains, you actually need to do quite little. So if you start feeling like you don't have enough time, you can scale it back without losing those gains. You'll just maintain what you gained. Hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one. May the gains be with you.